The ocean was calm that morning. Waves rolled slowly under the soft blue sky. Far from the coast, a research ship named Neptune's Eye floated in silence. On board, a group of scientists worked in a special lab, watching computer screens. They had been studying deep-sea sounds for weeks, but today, they heard something new, something strange. Dr. Sarah Lynn, the lead scientist, leaned closer to her headphones. A repeating signal was coming from deep below the ocean floor. It didn't sound like anything natural. It was not a whale or a machine. It was clear, steady, and rhythmic like a message. Sarah looked at the others. "Are we recording this?" she asked. "Yes," replied Jack Monroe, the engineer. "It's coming from almost 7 miles down. That's below the ocean bed." "That's impossible," said Sarah. "Nothing works that deep, and no human has ever been there." They ran more tests. The signal kept repeating. Every 2 minutes a strange set of tones echoed from below the Earth's crust. It was too perfect to be random. Sarah thought, maybe it's not from Earth at all. Within hours, the news reached the top level of the Global Science Alliance. A special team was sent to the ship. These were experts in space, sound, and secrets. They included former astronauts, codebreakers, and even one man from the military. No names were given, just ranks and jobs. Soon, they launched a deep-sea probe. It was small, strong, and built to go deeper than any other device. It moved slowly, like a metal insect, crawling down a dark hole in the ocean bed. They called it Crawler 9. The signal grew louder the deeper it went. At 37,000 feet, Crawler 9 camera turned on. What they saw made everyone silent. There was something under the seabed, something huge that it was buried in the rock, but the shape was clear, a smooth, black surface, curved like a giant shell. Lights flickered across its surface in patterns. The signal was coming from it. Sarah whispered, "It's a ship, but not one of ours." They called it the Object. Nobody knew how long it had been there. It looked old. The rock around it was millions of years old. Could it have crashed before humans walked the Earth? Could it be waiting? The team drilled carefully to get closer. As they reached the outer surface of the ship, something changed. The signal stopped. The ship lit up. A line of blue lights moved across its body. It was like it had noticed them. Suddenly, power on Neptune's Eye flickered. Lights went off. Screens turned black. Crawler 9 stopped moving. Panic spread. Then a new signal started. This one was clearer. It was not a sound. It was a picture. On every screen on board, a strange symbol appeared, a spiral inside a triangle. It pulsed softly. It felt like ... a greeting, or maybe a warning. The military man stepped forward. "We shut everything down. No more contact until we know what this thing is." Sarah disagreed. It tried to talk. "We can't just walk away now." The team split into 2 sides. Some wanted to keep digging. Others wanted to seal the hole and leave, but they all knew one thing. This wasn't just a discovery. It was contact. For the next 2 days, they argued. The ship remained silent. No more signals, no movement. Just the symbol on the screen, glowing like an eye that never blinked. Then, something strange happened. At night, a storm came. Huge waves hit the ship. Everyone was ordered inside. In the dark, Sarah had a dream. She was standing inside the ship. It was empty, but she felt a presence. A voice, not in words, but in feelings, told her, "You have opened the gate." She woke up screaming, but she wasn't the only one. 3 others had the same dream. Now they were sure. The ship was alive, and it had noticed them. Back in the lab, the spiral symbol had changed. It was now spinning slowly. Sarah touched the screen. For a second, her hand felt warm. Jack stepped back. "It's doing something. It's learning us." Sarah looked at him. "No, it's waking up." And then, just for a second, the ship made a sound, a low hum, like a giant taking its first breath. What lay beneath the ocean floor was no longer sleeping, and humanity had no idea what it had just awakened. The next morning, the sea was still. The storm had passed, but the tension on the ship had not. Everyone on Neptune's Eye felt a strange hum in the air. It was quiet, but deep, like the ocean itself was vibrating. Sarah stood by the window, staring at the waves. "Something is changing down there," she said. Jack nodded. "The signal is gone again, but the spiral, it's spinning faster now." The alien ship beneath the ocean floor wasn't sleeping anymore. It was waking up slowly, like something stretching after a long rest. Nobody knew what would happen next. The drill team continued working. They had already created a narrow tunnel down to the object. Now they planned to send a small drone inside. This drone, named Scout 1, was designed for tight spaces. It carried lights, a camera, and a basic scanner. Everyone gathered around the screen as Scout 1 entered the tunnel. The walls were made of smooth, black metal, like glass, but stronger. No marks, no damage, just perfect, untouched surface. Then, the tunnel ended. Scout 1 floated into a large chamber. Gasps filled the room. Inside there were light, soft blue lines running across the walls. The chamber was huge, bigger than a football field, and in the center, a figure. It looked human. The body was floating inside a glass-like pod. Its skin was pale, almost white. It had no hair. Its eyes were closed. Tubes ran from the pod into the floor, glowing with blue light. "Is it alive?" Someone asked. No, that idea, Sarah said, but it looks like it's been waiting, Jack whispered. Waiting for us. The military officer, Captain Reeves, spoke. Shut it down. No more drones, no more scans. This is now a classified mission. Sarah stepped forward. You can't just stop this. The world needs to know. Reeves didn't answer. He made a call. Minutes later, 2 black helicopters arrived. Soldiers with no names took control of the ship. The lab was locked. The scientists were separated. Sarah didn't stop. She found Jack in the lower deck. We need to send the footage before they erase it. Jack hesitated. They're watching everything now. One wrong move, ... I don't care, she said. That thing is part of something bigger. And it's waking up. That night, the pod inside the alien ship glowed brighter. Scout 1, though, shut off, turned itself on. It floated closer to the figure. Suddenly, the eyes inside the pod opened. They were completely black. All over Neptune's eye, power surged. Lights exploded. Alarms went off. The soldiers ran to the control room, but it was too late. The alien ship had taken control. Screens across the ship turned on. The spiral symbol returned, but this time it was red. The figure inside the pod began to move. Back on the surface, Sarah watched in horror as the alien opened its eyes again, this time looking straight into Scout 1's camera. She felt her heartbeat slow, as if something was pressing on her mind. Then, it spoke. Not with sound, but with thought. You are not the first. Sarah fell to her knees. Her head was spinning. She saw flashes, other planets, other civilizations, all destroyed. She saw the same ship landing again and again, like it was searching for something. She realized something. This ship was not a rescue. It was a test, and Earth had just triggered it. The next day, Captain Reeves ordered all systems shut down. He called for a deep-sea missile to seal the whole. Sarah screamed, "You can't destroy it. It's too late. It already knows we're here." But he didn't listen. The missile was launched. They watched it sink into the ocean, down to the dark place where the alien ship waited at the last second. The spiral turned into a blinding light, and the missile disappeared, just vanished. No explosion. No trace. Everyone stood frozen. Sarah whispered. It erased it, like it never existed. The ship below sent one final signal. A new symbol appeared. It was Earth next to it. A countdown. For 8 hours, and then silence.
The sub floated quietly through a long, glowing tunnel. Behind them, the alien door had sealed shut. No sound followed them now. Only silence and the heavy fear in their hearts. Inside the sub, Mark pulled off his helmet. His face was pale. I saw that second creature open its eyes. It looked straight at me. Rod shook his head. How many of those things are inside this ship? Jonah stared ahead. Too many. That first one. It wasn't alone. This ship is full of monsters. That's why it was buried so deep. Emily leaned forward. Then why is it waking up now? Why did it open for us? No one had an answer. The tunnel ahead curved upward. After a few minutes, the sub reached a new chamber. It was much larger than the first one. In the center stood a tall structure like a tower with glowing rings spinning slowly around it. The sub stopped. What is that? Emily asked. Rog scanned it. Some kind of control core. It's alive, but also a machine. Jonas narrowed his eyes. Maybe this is the ship's brain. Mark floated closer to the window. If this is the brain, maybe it can help us. Suddenly, the lights inside the chamber changed color, from blue to deep red. The rings around the tower stopped spinning, and a low hum filled the room. Then, a voice returned, the same cold voice from before. It spoke inside their minds. You are still here. The team tensed. You were warned. This ship is not for humans. But now you carry its code. Emily asked, what does that mean? The voice replied, the prison is breaking. And now, you are part of it. Before anyone could speak, something appeared in the chamber. A hologram. It showed the Earth bright and blue in space. Then it zoomed in, fast, toward the ocean. A red pulse blinked from the deep. Emily gasped. It's showing where we are. Then, the image changed. Strange black lines spread out from the ship. They moved toward the surface fast. Like a virus, one line reached a satellite. Then another hit a submarine. More lines began to climb toward the land. Mark's eyes widened. It's spreading, Rog whispered. Whatever was trapped inside this ship, it's not staying here. Jonas stood up. We need to destroy it, now, before it reaches the surface. But how? Emily asked. We can't fight it. We can't fight it. Can't even understand it, the voice returned. You are not the first to try. Others came before you, all failed. Suddenly, another image appeared, a memory. A group of strange beings, not human, stood around the same control tower. They wore armor and held weapons. One by one, they were pulled away screaming by the same creatures. They tried to shut down the ship, Rog said softly. Emily stepped closer to the glass. Wait, Look at their armor, the writing. It's almost like our letters. Similar shapes, Jonas nodded. Maybe they weren't so different from us. Then the lights flickered again. Another message filled the room. You still have time, but only one can leave. What does that mean? Mark asked. Only one. Before they could speak, the control tower lit up. A panel opened. Inside was a chair surrounded by lights and wires. The voice continued. One mind can take control. One human, but the cost is high, Raj translated. They're offering one of us a choice. If someone sits in that chair, they can control the ship, lock it down, stop the infection. But, Emily finished his sentence. But they won't. Come back. Silence. Jonas looked at each of them. This is it. Either we stop it here, or Earth is next. Mark clenched his fists. If that thing reaches land, it won't stop. Cities, people, everything. Roger's voice trembled. This is not just about us anymore. Emily looked at the chair, then she looked at the team. I'll do it. No, Jonas said quickly. I'm the captain. It's my responsibility. Raj stepped forward. No, I can connect with the systems better. Maybe I can survive it. Mark laughed sadly. We're all trying to be the hero now. But before they could argue more, the ship shook violently. Another creature was coming. Time was running out. Emily walked toward the hatch. Stop, Jonas said. Don't be a martyr. I'm not, she said softly. I'm a scientist. I've spent my life studying the ocean. If I can stop something from destroying it, I have to try. The team stared at her, then slowly, they nodded. Emily opened the sub's hatch and swam toward the control chair as she sat down. The chair closed around her. The lights in the room turned white. The ship began to respond, but deep in the walls, the monsters were moving again. The real fight was about to begin.
The countdown had reached 0. The screen was black. No sound, no light, no signal. The alien inside the ship stood still, its hand still raised, eyes glowing softly. The nuclear missile that had been launched was gone. Just like the first one, it had disappeared before impact. Erased, not exploded, not blocked, just ... gone. Everyone on Neptune's Eye was frozen in fear. Captain Reeves clenched his fists. What did it do? Did it teleport it? Jack whispered. No, it deleted it, like it was just a file in a system. Sarah stared at the blank screen. This ship isn't just metal, it's a machine, a computer, a living one. Suddenly all systems came back on. The spiral symbol returned. But this time, it wasn't alone. Next to it was a map of Earth. Red lights began to appear all over the map, dots glowing in every ocean, under ice caps, deep in the crust, dozens, hundreds. Jack's voice trembled. Oh my God, ... there's more than one. Sarah realized the truth. This wasn't a crash, it was a seed. The ship beneath the ocean wasn't alone. It was one of many hidden deep in Earth, buried for thousands, maybe millions of years, waiting. The alien began to speak again. You were not the first to find us. Others before you tried, all failed. You follow the same path. Captain Reeves stepped forward. If you're a threat to this planet, we'll fight you, all of you. The alien tilted its head. You fight everything, even yourselves. That is why you must be judged. Sarah asked, why now? Why not before? The alien answered, because you came, you found us, you forced our eyes open. Another image appeared on the screen. A desert, a different team of scientists. Another buried ship, this one beneath. Sand. Sarah's eyes widened. Someone else already found another one. Jack nodded, and they activated it too. The alien's voice returned, stronger now. When 3 awaken, judgment begins. Suddenly, a third image appeared at frozen sea near Antarctica. The ice cracked. Blue light burst out. The third ship had awakened. The planet shook. On Neptune's Eye, alarms bled. The water around them bubbled and boiled. The alien ship below, the ocean began to rise. Not fast, slowly, powerfully. The rock above it cracked and fell away like dust. The seafloor broke open. The ship had wings now. Long glowing fins that stretched wide and curved like blades. Captain Reeves shouted, "Get us out of here!" Full power. The ship tried to escape, but the ocean fought back. Waves grew tall, winds screamed, and then silence. Everything stopped. Floating in front of Neptune's Eye just under the water was the alien craft, huge, silent, watching. Its surface shimmered like it was made of liquid metal. Lights ran across its body like rivers of electricity. The spiral symbol glowed on its front, the size of a house. Then the alien appeared on the deck of Neptune's Eye. Just like that. No flash, no beam. It was just there. The soldiers pointed guns. Sarah screamed, "No, don't shoot." The alien raised one hand. The guns fell apart, dissolving into dust. It looked at Sarah. "You asked why now? Because your kind has reached the edge." "What edge?" Sarah asked. "Shaking the edge of becoming more, or being ended." Jack whispered, "This is the test. Not for the ship, ... for us." The alien pointed to the sky. "You dream of stars, but carry war inside you. You build tools, then turn them into weapons. Sarah took a step forward. So what happens now? The alien looked at her. Now we decide if your kind can rise, or if the stars must remain close to you. Lightning flashed across the ocean. The other ships, one in the desert, one in the ice, were rising to dots. Sarah closed her eyes. Earth had awakened something ancient, and now it would be judged. But by what rules and by who? The sky above Neptune's eye turned dark. Thick clouds rolled in, covering the sun. The alien ship hovered silently above the ocean surface, casting a shadow over the ship and the water below. It was like time had stopped. The alien stood still. On the deck, its glowing black eyes stared at Sarah. All around them, the crew stood frozen. No one moved, no one spoke. Even Captain Reeves, who once shouted orders, stood in silence. The alien's presence had taken control of everything. Sarah finally found her voice. What do you mean by judgment? The alien turned slowly to face her. Your species has reached the gate. To pass, you must be tested. This is the protocol. It cannot be changed. Sarah swallowed hard. What kind of test? The alien raised its hand. A light shot out from the ship. It wrapped around Neptune's eye, covering it in a glowing blue shield. You will face what you fear, you will face what you deny, and you will face yourselves. Then the world changed. The ocean disappeared. The sky turned black, and Neptune's eye was gone. The crew found themselves standing on land, dry, cracked land, a dead world, broken buildings, empty skies. What is this? Jack asked. Sarah looked around. It's not real. It's a simulation. A memory. The alien's voice echoed around them. This was one of the first. They reached the gate. They failed. They saw alien skeletons. A city destroyed. Machines turned to dust. It looked like a planet Earth could become. They chose war, fear. They were erased. Suddenly the scene changed again. Now they stood in a city, Earth's city, their own, but it was on fire. Soldiers fought in the streets. People ran in fear. Giant screens showed missiles, burning skies, falling buildings. Jack stepped back. This is ... Earth's future. Sarah looked down. No, this is a warning. The alien appeared again, walking through the fire untouched. You carry the same path. You have learned science ... but not peace. This is the world you create when power rules without wisdom. Captain Reeves finally spoke. You think you're better than us? The alien looked at him. We are not better. We are older. We made the same mistakes. We burned 100 worlds before we understood. Now we protect the gate. Sarah asked, what is the gate? The alien raised one hand. A vision appeared above them. It showed stars. Thousands of them, planets, civilizations, wonders beyond imagination. The gate is not a place. It is a choice. The choice to grow or to fall. Then, the vision faded. They were back on Neptune's eye. The ocean was calm again, the sky clear. But the alien ship still hovered above them. The alien spoke one final time. Earth now has one chance, one answer. You must choose your speaker, one voice, one mind, to speak for all. Everyone looked confused. Sarah asked, one speaker. The alien nodded. Only one may speak for your kind. Only one may be tested. Sarah's heart sank. She understood now. This wasn't a war, it was a decision. One human would be chosen and their actions would decide the fate of the world. Captain Reeves shouted, it should be me. I'm trained for danger. I lead. Jack shook his head. This isn't a battle. It's bigger than that. All eyes turned to Sarah. She had made contact first. She had listened. She had understood. The alien looked at her. Will you speak? Sarah took a deep breath and said, yes. Sarah stood still on the deck of Neptune's eye. Her heart was racing. But her voice had been clear. Yes, she had said she would speak for humanity. The alien looked at her for a long moment. Then it raised its hand again. A soft blue light surrounded Sarah. She floated gently into the air. The ocean breeze vanished. The sounds of the waves faded. Time slowed down. And then she was gone. The crew screamed. Jack shouted her name, but there was no answer. Sarah had vanished into the alien ship. Inside the ship, Sarah floated in darkness. The air was still. There was no gravity. Just quiet. A soft light appeared in front of her. Then a voice, not the alien's voice this time. This voice sounded like her own. Sarah Lynn, you speak for Earth. She turned slowly. No one was there, but she could feel something, millions of thoughts around her, watching, listening. This test is not of strength, it is of truth. Answer, with your soul. Then the light changed. Sarah was back in her childhood home. Her parents were fighting. She saw herself, as a young girl, hiding under the table. Scared, the voice asked, why does your kind repeat pain? Sarah answered, because we're afraid. We don't understand each other, and fear grows in silence. The memory disappeared. Now, she stood in a war zone. Tanks rolled through ruined streets. Soldiers fired at each other. Civilians cried for help. Why do you build weapons? Sarah spoke again. Because we want to feel safe. But sometimes, we confuse safety with power. The scene faded. Now she saw a hospital. Doctors helping children. People donating food. Volunteers saving lives after disasters. Then why do you still try? Sarah smiled a little. Because we hope, we care. We don't always do things right, but we learn and we try again. A long pause followed. Silence stretched across the darkness. Then a final image appeared, Earth's blue and beautiful, floating in space, but next to it, a black sphere. The Judgment Core. You have one choice to make, one last truth. The voice echoed deep in her mind. If your world is allowed to rise, it will touch the stars. If it fails, it will fall into silence forever. Sarah took a deep breath. Then don't choose for us, let us choose. The light glowed stronger. We aren't perfect, but we want to grow. We want to connect. Give us that chance, not just for power, but to learn. The light vanished. Sarah dropped to her knees. She was back inside the alien ship on a glowing platform. The alien figure stood in front of her again, but this time, it bowed its head. You have spoken. Then everything faded to white. On the surface, Neptune's eyes shook. The alien ship above the ocean began to change. Its form cracked open like a flower in bloom. Blue light poured from its center. The sky lit up like morning. Sarah reappeared alive. Unharmed, she collapsed into Jack's arms. The alien ship spoke one final time, its voice loud across the sky and sea. Judgment complete. Path opened. From the sky above, stars twinkled. Something new appeared in orbit. A gate. A true gate. A glowing ring of metal and energy. Far above Earth, a doorway to the stars. The sky above Earth was forever changed. High in orbit, the gate floated silently. A ring of alien metal and light, large enough for a city to pass through, shimmered with energy, a doorway to the stars. People across the world looked up and saw it. News stations went live. Scientists cried. Soldiers lowered their weapons. The world paused, and for the first time in human history, everyone looked in the same direction. On board Neptune's eye. Sarah stood weak but smiling. She had passed the test. Jack held her arm. Are you okay? I think so, she said. I saw everything. The fear, the hope, the choice. Captain Reeves walked up to her. His voice was quiet now. You did what none of us could. You stopped a war before it started. Sarah looked at the alien ship above the water. I didn't stop a war. I showed them we were ready for something better. The alien stood on the deck once more. It spoke to them all. The gate is open, but the journey is yours. No ship will come. No answers will be given. You must rise on your own. Jack frowned. What does that mean? Sarah understood. They gave us a key, not a ride. We have to build the path ourselves. The alien nodded. We have watched many worlds. Some chose darkness, others chose light. Now you choose. The alien turned to leave, but Sarah asked one final question. Why do this? Why test us? The alien paused. Because once, long ago, we were like you, lost, angry, but someone gave us a chance. And now we guard the gate. Then, just like that, it was gone. The ship sank back beneath the waves. The water closed around it like it had never been there. The ocean became quiet once more. Weeks passed. World leaders met for the first time. They spoke not as enemies, but as one planet. Science teams from every country gathered to study the gate. People changed. Borders still existed, but minds were opening. Questions grew louder than hate. Curiosity louder than fear. And at the center of it all, Sarah Lynn. She became a symbol of Earth's new path. She didn't want fame. She wanted progress. She spoke to the world not with power, but with honesty. The stars are not a prize, she said. They're a responsibility. 10 years later, the first human ship reached the gate. It was small, built by a united effort of Earth's nations, piloted by explorers, scientists, and dreamers. They called it the Dawn Walker. Sarah watched from a space station as it passed. Through the gate. Beyond it. Another star. Another world. A new chapter. And deep beneath the ocean, the alien craft slept again, waiting, not in fear, but in hope, because this time, humanity had chosen the stars, and the stars had listened. The Dawn Walker had crossed through the alien gate. 1 second, it was floating above Earth. The next, it was somewhere else entirely. The stars looked different. The space felt heavier, deeper. The crew of 6 held their breath. They were the first humans to leave Earth's star system. No one knew what to expect. Captain Alara Singh looked out from the window. Is everyone still with me? All systems green, said Dr. Omar Reyes, the ship's lead scientist. But, the readings are strange. How strange? Alara asked. Omar's voice lowered. The laws of physics. They feel different here, like something is guiding this space. Suddenly a light appeared ahead. Soft, moving, growing. It wasn't a planet, it wasn't a star, it was something. Watching back on Earth, Sarah Lynn monitored everything from the Orbital Science Command. She was older now, wiser, but her eyes still held the same curiosity. Dawn Walker, do you copy? We're receiving the stream. You're not alone out there. The team back on Earth saw it too. The light was changing shape. It was becoming a ship, not a warship, not like the one under the ocean. This one was made of crystal and light. It shimmered like it was alive. Then a voice came through the comms, not spoken, not typed. It just appeared in the minds of the crew. You have entered the garden. Ilara froze. Who's speaking? We are the Watchers. You passed the first gate. Few do, fewer return. Umar asked, why bring us here? The answer was instant. Because your world chose peace. And peace must be tested with knowledge, not fear. Suddenly, a beam of light scanned the Dawnwalker. Every system stayed online, but every file, every word of Earth's history, was copied, not stolen. Preserved. Back on Earth, Sarah and her team saw a message on their screens. Second trial, memory. Sarah's hands shook. Another test, but not just for the crew. Across the world, dreams began to change. People began to see things in their sleep. Memories from other worlds, ancient ruins, lost civilizations, strange cities in the sky. The alien technology wasn't just testing the astronauts, it was waking something inside humanity itself. In space, the alien ship circled the Dawnwalker slowly. Then the light spoke again. You are not alone in this galaxy. Others watch you. Not all are peaceful. The ship showed them a vision. Giant machines, red and black, tearing planets apart. Creatures without faces, feeding on light. A war that had ended worlds. Ilara gripped the console. What are they? They are the forgotten. The ones who failed. The ones who now hunt what still breathes. Omar said, so this isn't just exploration, it's preparation. The voice agreed. You reached the gate. Now you must become its guardians. Suddenly the ship released a pod. Inside was a small cube, glowing softly, alive. Take this. It is your beginning. Ilara caught it in her hands. What does it do? It teaches, it remembers. Then the ship of light vanished. No engine, no sound. Just gone. The Dawnwalker returned to Earth. A month later, humanity had changed. The cube had already begun teaching them how to build faster ships, cleaner energy, new languages. It spoke in symbols and dreams. Sarah stood before the United Earth Assembly. We thought the gate was the end of the story, she said, but it was just the door. Now we must decide what kind of explorers we want to be. Because far beyond the stars, something was watching, and not everything out there was friendly. Asterisk. It had been 2 years since the Dawnwalker returned from beyond the gate. Earth had changed. The cube from the Watchers had helped scientists build powerful technology, clean energy, healing machines, fast spacecraft. War had dropped to its lowest point in human history. For the first time, Earth was united under a global science mission, the Starborn Initiative. Sarah Lynn now led the Council of Space Diplomacy. The gate above Earth was active 24/7, and new explorers traveled through it every week. But something was wrong. In deep space, far from any star, a ship named the Sentinel sent a distress signal. Then silence. Captain Ilara Singh was now commander of Earth's first deep-range fleet ship, the Horizon Wind. It was faster and stronger than the Dawnwalker. It had human and alien technology, powered by what the Watchers called living light. Ilara and her crew left through the gate to find the Sentinel. They found wreckage, burned metal, frozen bodies. There were no survivors. But one thing was clear. It wasn't a crash, it was an attack. And the attackers had left a message on a torn piece of hull. A mark had been burned in, a spiral, but not like the peaceful Watcher symbol. This one was jagged, broken and bleeding. Elara sent the symbol to Earth. Sarah saw it and felt a chill. I've seen this before, she whispered. During the trial, the voice said, ... Some failed. They became the forgotten. Omar Reyes, now the top science officer, decoded part of the message from the wreckage. For words, you opened the door. Back on the Horizon Wind, strange signals began to appear. Whispers, echoes. The crew started having nightmares, dreams of darkness swallowing stars. Machines screaming, a red moon bleeding light. One of the crew, a young engineer named Lena, went missing. They found her floating in the cargo bay, eyes open, whispering the same word again and again. They're coming. Ilara made a decision. She followed the signal deeper into space. There, beyond a dying star, they saw it, a massive ship, dead, black, not made of metal but bone and shadow. It didn't move, it didn't signal, it just watched. Omar scanned it. This ship, it's alive and ancient. Then it moved. A light pulsed from its core, red and sharp, like a heartbeat. Suddenly, the Horizon Wind systems failed, engines down, weapons offline. The alien ship sent a signal, one word only, judgment. But this wasn't like the Watchers. This wasn't a test. This was punishment. Ilara stared at the screen. We need to warn Earth now. But communication was jammed. The Forgotten had returned, not to talk, but to destroy. Sarah Lynn sat in silence. As Earth's main screen went dark, all contact with the Horizon Wind was lost. She stood up slowly. It has begun. The stars were no longer quiet, and Earth was no longer alone. Earth was no longer silent. The skies above were filled with whispers from the deep dark. The Watchers were quiet now, but something else had answered humanity's signal. Something older, something hungry. The Horizon Wind was missing. Ilara Singh and her crew hadn't been heard from in 5 days. Only one signal had reached Earth, just a single word: judgment. Sarah Lynn stood before the United Earth Council, her voice steady but her hands cold. We are no longer explorers, she said. Now we are defenders. The room was quiet. Then someone asked, are we ready? Sarah looked toward the sky. No, she said, but we have no choice. Earth's space stations were placed on full alert. The Starborn Initiative turned from exploration to defense. Every nation shared its best minds. Every lab became a war room. The cube from the Watchers glowed brighter now, as if it too sensed the threat. Inside the cube, a new symbol appeared, one Sarah had never seen before. It showed Earth, surrounded by shadows, and beside it, a countdown. 9 days, Omar Reyes studied. It's not a test, it's a warning, Sarah whispered. They're coming here. The signal from the horizon wind suddenly returned, but only one piece. It was a voice. Ilara, don't wait. They're not ships. They're alive. The stars are burning. Fight. Or fall. Then static. But the message was clear. Earth was next. The first attack came at the edge of the solar system. A listening station on Pluto went dark when a patrol ship arrived. All it found was silent sand, strange black shapes floating in space. Pieces of the station, but twisted, changed. A soldier touched one and screamed. It wasn't metal anymore. It was growing, feeding. Sarah gave the order, prepare the fleet from Earth's orbit. 20 new ships launched. They were the first Starguard humans trained to defend not just Earth but every gate. They had alien power, human will, and one mission: protect the light. Back on Earth, strange things began to happen. Children started dreaming of distant planets. Artists painted stars they had never seen. Old languages were suddenly understood by ordinary people. The Watchers weren't speaking with words, they were sharing memory minds. Because the war coming wasn't just in space, it was also inside. 9 days later, it began. A black tear opened near Mars from it. 5 massive ships emerged, shaped like bones in storms, pulsing with red light. These were the Forgotten, the ones who had failed the test long ago. They didn't ask questions, they just fired. Earth's defense fleet moved fast. The first battle in human history beyond the moon lit up the sky. Beams of light, bursts of energy, and silent explosions flashed through the void. 3 human ships were lost. One of the Forgotten exploded, but even in death, it screamed. It sent out a signal, and in the far reaches of the galaxy, others answered. Sarah watched from the Earth command station. She pressed a button to speak to the fleet. Listen to me, she said. We are not alone. We are not perfect, but we are here. And if the stars have chosen to test us, then we will pass. And if they haven't, a pilot asked. Sarah's voice was calm. Then we will take the stars anyway. The war for the future had begun. Earth was no longer a quiet world under the sky. Now it was something more, a voice, a light, a defender, and the Forgotten. They would learn what it meant to awaken. Humanity. The first battle was over. Earth had survived, but just barely. Out of 20 ships, 12 returned. The rest were gone, lost to the dark weapons of the Forgotten. But something had changed. For the first time in history, humanity had stood against an ancient enemy and pushed back. In Earth's orbit, the Starborn fleet gathered again. Ships were repaired. Pilots were trained faster. The cube from the Watchers gave them blueprints, new shields, faster drives, smarter weapons. Omar Reyes stood over the cube one night, studying its glow. It's learning, he said. Every time we fight, it grows stronger. It adapts. Sarah Lynn joined him. Or maybe it's remembering. The Watchers said they failed once, too. Maybe this is how they were saved. Omar looked at her. Do you think we'll be saved? Sarah didn't answer. She looked out at the gate, floating like a silent moon above Earth. We'll save ourselves. Far away, on a frozen moon orbiting a dead star, Captain Ilara Singh woke up. She was alive. Her ship, the Horizon Wind, was gone. Her crew, scattered or dead. But someone had saved her. She opened her eyes to see glowing shapes above her. Not machines. Not humans. Tall figures made of crystal and starlight. The Watchers. You were not ready to die, one of them said. In her mind, why help me? She asked. Because your world has done what many never do, resist. Back on Earth, a new plan was forming. Sarah stood before the council. We can't wait anymore. If we sit behind shields, they will burn our system one planet at a time. We must strike first. Where? Someone asked. Sarah turned toward the screen. The cube had revealed something, a map, deep in the center of a dead star cluster, hidden behind a curtain of black holes. The heart of the Forgotten. Their home, their hive, their code. Earth sent a message across the gate to all allies, to every species that once failed but survived. Humanity is striking back. Join us, or watch from the shadows. The answers came slowly, one by one. From icy moons, gas giants, shattered planets. Ships arrived. Different shapes, different minds, but with one goal: to stop the Forgotten before they swallowed another star. Sarah called it the Lightfall Alliance, and at its center, Earth stood tall. The Watchers returned briefly and offered one final gift. A ship. Not just any ship. One built with their own memories. The star waked. It could fly faster than light, heal itself, bend time, and it listened to Sarah's voice. You are the bridge now, one Watcher said. Lead them. Sarah nodded. I'll lead, but not as a conqueror. As what, then? The Watcher asked. As a reminder, she said, that we came from the dirt, and now we reach the stars. The fleet gathered, thousands, strong humans, aliens, old enemies standing together. The gate opened wider than ever before, and the Starwake led the charge across the stars. The Forgotten stirred. They felt the light coming, and for the first time in millions of years, they felt fear, because now, humanity was not just defending, humanity was hunting. The Lightfall Alliance moved like a tide of stars. Thousands of ships, human, alien, ancient, followed the path through the Great Gate. Their destination was hidden deep in a dying part of the galaxy. The Watchers called it the Veil Zone, a place where light itself faded, where time bent, where the Forgotten were born. At the front of the fleet flew the Starwake. The living ship, gifted by the Watchers inside, stood Sarah Lynn, now commander of the Alliance. The cube floated near her, pulsing, faster than ever. It spoke in symbols, images, and feelings. Sarah closed her eyes. She saw visions of the Forgotten's past, a planet of metal and glass, cities as tall as mountains, a species that had once looked like the Watchers but more prideful, more violent. Two had passed a gate once, and failed the trial. Instead of accepting judgment, they had fought the Watchers, and in doing so, they became what they feared, twisted, endless, forgotten. The fleet reached the Veil Zone. The stars here were faint, cold. Some had already died, but something still moved in the dark. The Forgotten Hive. It wasn't one ship, it was a world dead and alive, a sphere the size of a moon, covered in spines and scars. It pulsed like a heart. The cube translated a warning. This is not a home. This is a grave. Sarah stood on the command bridge. Ready, all ships. Across the fleet, weapons powered up. Shields went live. Then the Forgotten attacked. It was like nothing they had ever seen. Ships of black shadow poured from the hive. They didn't fly like machines. They moved like thoughts, twisting, vanishing, reappearing. Their weapons weren't fire or metal. They used fear, memory, and rage. Some ships broke apart just from contact. Pilots screamed as the enemy reached into their minds. But the Alliance fought back. Human fighters flew beside crystal-winged aliens. Watcher tech blended with human instinct. For every ship lost, two more pushed forward. And at the center of it all, Sarah and the Starwake, she shouted, "Push through. Get me to the hive." Inside the hive, the Forgotten mind awoke. It was not a leader. It was a single mind shared by all its ships, and now it focused on Sarah. Her voice echoed across the battlefield. "You had your chance. You chose destruction. Now we choose Passant. We will defend it." The Forgotten answered with silence. And a wave of black energy struck the Starwake. Time froze. Sarah found herself standing in a dark, endless space before her. A shape, a reflection of herself, cold, empty, a version that had failed. It spoke in her voice. "What gives you the right to judge us?" Sarah looked into its eyes. "You judged yourselves the day you silenced every other voice." She reached toward the cube, and the cube answered. It exploded with light across the fleet. A burst of energy surged through every ship. The Watchers had left one final gift inside the cube, a command, memory return. Every Forgotten ship froze, then shook, then screamed. They remembered who they were, what they had done, what they had lost. Some began to fall apart, others turned and fled. The hive itself cracked down the center. Sarah spoke one final command, "End it." The Starwake fired a beam of pure light into the heart of the hive, and the Forgotten were gone. Silence fell. The fleet hovered near the wreckage. No cheers, no joy, just peace and awe. Sarah whispered, "It's over." But Omar, watching from a science cruiser nearby, said something else. "No," he said, "it's just beginning." Because beyond the hive, another signal had been found. Older than the Watchers, deeper than the Forgotten. A gate barred far bigger than the first. Waiting. And this time, it was calling Earth by name. The battle was over. The Forgotten were gone, but something older had awakened as Earth's fleet gathered near the ruins of the hive. Sarah Lynn stood on the command bridge of the Starwake, staring at a glowing signal on the screen. The cube pulsed softly. A new path had opened, a gate, far beyond the known galaxy, buried in the edge of time and space. The first gate. It took weeks to reach it. The fleet moved carefully. Even with Watcher tech, this place felt different. The stars here were older, dim, ancient. As they arrived, all ships stopped. The first gate was not like the others. It was massive, large enough for a small planet to pass through. It was made of black stone and glowing veins of golden light. Symbols older than all known languages floated across its surface. The cube shook in Sarah's hands. Omar Reyes gasped. "These symbols, they're not alien, they're human." Everyone froze. "That's not possible," someone whispered, but it was true. The first gate, New Earth. Inside the gate's orbit, a strange field blocked all scanning. Sarah gave the order. Only one ship would enter, the Starwake. The others waited in silence. As the glowing ship passed through the giant ring on the other side, space changed. It wasn't just a star system. It was a world, a structure built around a star, a Dyson ring, larger than anything humanity had ever imagined, covered in cities, empty, silent, but still running. Sarah stood at the window. "What is this place?" she asked quietly. The cube answered, "Origin, They landed on one of the floating cities. It was not built for any alien form. The doors were human-sized. The writing on the walls matched old Earth languages, long-dead dialects and symbols once found in ancient ruins. Sarah whispered, "This place was made for us." Omar looked around, shocked. It's like they knew we'd come. They walked into a tall chamber at the heart of the city. There at the center was a glowing figure. Not a watcher, not a forgotten dot, something else. It looked human. It smiled and it spoke. "Welcome home." Sarah stepped forward, heart racing. "Who are you?" The figure answered calmly, "We are the builders. We lit the first stars. We seeded the gates. We shaped life across galaxies." Sarah's voice shook. "Why Earth? Why us?" The builder looked at her with kind eyes. "Because long ago we left a piece of ourselves on your world. A test. A seed. A hope," Omar whispered. "You mean humanity isn't just part of the galaxy?" The builder nodded. "You are its beginning." Silence fell across the chamber. Sarah sat down, overwhelmed. "We were looking for our place," she said softly. "But we already had it." The builder smiled. "The gates were not to keep you out. They were to lead you back, across the galaxy." The news spread. Humanity wasn't just the new voice in the stars. They were the ancient echo returning home. The watchers, the forgotten, even the stars themselves, had been waiting. Not for a conqueror, not for a savior, but for a child who had grown enough to remember where it came from. And now, the galaxy would change together. The truth was out. Humanity was not a mistake, not an accident. Long ago, the builders, the first starborn race, had planted seeds of themselves across the galaxy. One of those seeds had taken root on a young blue world. Earth. And now, thousands of years later, the child had come home. Sarah Lynn stood with Omar Reyes and the rest of her crew inside the origin ring, a Dyson-like structure built by the builders around an ancient star. The builder hologram stood before them. "You are the last to return," it said. "The others fell to war, fear, or silence, you remembered." Omar stepped forward. "Why reveal this now? Why wait?" The builder turned toward the star outside the chamber window. "Because the final shadow has stirred across the galaxy." Strange signals began to appear, not from the gates, not from space, from outside, beyond the stars, beyond the fabric of time. The builders had called it the outer dark, a force that moved between galaxies, not life, not death, something in between, a hunger. The forgotten had once served it before they became mindless, and now it was coming. Earth's fleet returned through the gate. The Lightfall Alliance grew larger. New species stepped out of hiding. Even old enemies offered peace. Because this threat was not one planet or one species. It was everything. Sarah stood before the United Earth Assembly, now extended to include watchers, builders, and dozens of alien voices. "We were the lost ones," she said. "But now, we lead. Not with weapons, not with fear, with memory, with unity. The outer dark cannot be destroyed, but it can be blocked, it can be held." A watcher stepped forward. "There is one way, one sacrifice." The first gate, the oldest gate, could be turned into a shield. But to do it, someone had to remain inside, to control it, to watch, to guide others forever. Sarah knew it had to be her. She had led humanity through the first trial, through the first war, through the first truth. Now she would be its voice. Beyond time, Omar tried to stop her. "You've done enough. Let others lead." Sarah smiled gently. "This isn't the end. It's the beginning." She stepped inside the starwake one final time. The ship rose into the sky, passed through the first gate, and vanished. The gate glowed gold, then closed. On Earth, children still look up at night and see a star that wasn't there before. They call it the Guardian Star. They don't know it's not a star. It's Sarah, watching, waiting, protecting the gates so others may follow. And deep in the outer dark, something watched back. But it did not pass. Not this time. Not ever again. Because now the galaxy had found its voice. And that voice, was humanity.